Hey, Nick, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's awesome to have you on.
Thanks a lot for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah, of course. All the way from sunshiny Northlands up in Canada.
Yes, sir. Toronto, to be exact, in Ontario is our province in
Yes,
Canada.
all the way up there on the East Coast. So I,
We're kind of in the middle, like just above Buffalo.
oh, right on. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
over here in the Seattle area, so I guess everything far out that way is East Coast to me. But
Okay.
right on. So, well, I recently became acquainted with Tribe probably about a year or so ago as I was exploring, kind of looking for new things to listen to, and some friends recommended I check out your band. And one of the things I realized is that you're pretty prolific. You guys kind of hit the scene not too long ago, and boom, you've got two EPs on the market within about a year or so of each other, and you released the second one basically like right as quarantine was fucking hitting, and
Yeah,
some exciting news right now that you're getting ready to release your first vinyl, which is a combination of the two EPs, right?
yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us all about that. Get us a story on kind of how that decision came to be, and all that good stuff.
Basically, like I mean, I don't like to sit around. I don't like waiting. That's like, So, um, my other band, Soulstorm, I kind of started. I kind of not got it back together, but Dave Mitchell came back around 2011, and he was the other guitarist with me that we kind of formed the band with together, and the idea of Soulstorm. So he came back, and we did the third album, 2012, and it is what it is. It's like it's all different style, right? It's very it's a little bit of abrasive sound to it. It's a little, I don't know. You've heard it. I don't know. Maybe you haven't. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of it's got a little bit of an industrial tinge to it.
Yeah.
Still pretty heavy, but there's a little bit of a kind of experimental stuff and some
Right. Right. Yeah.
kind of a little bit of tinkering with some sampling or electronic stuff here and there, but at the end of the day it's still pretty fucking heavy grindy metal.
Right. Right. Yeah. True. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So so we were doing that for a while, and then Dave disappeared again because that's what he does. So like like with by the time the CD came out, he was gone already. So I had to kind of scramble to get some people together. We played a couple shows that went off really well actually, and then I had some other guys in the band, and uh, it just seemed to run its course at this point in time. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to move on and into more like a live thing, and return to some playing like metal. Not that Soulstorm wasn't metal, but it was very niche in what we were doing there. You know what I mean? It was it kind of had its own thing going on. It was so that's very specific. Whereas, well, even like death metal, everything's specific. I mean, like the stuff that I want to do in the death metal is very focused, right? So it was just different than what I was already doing back then.
Right.
So, so I contacted this Jason, who was doing a PR for us at the time, for the Soulstorm release, and his partner Kim, and they had a company called Black Element PR. So that they helped me and get members and do this thing just do something properly, because I was trying to put out a demo with another band, and the playing was a little bit subpar, and like I mean, you're only limited in your writing as your players are,
Sure.
you know. So and the stuff that I was writing at that time, the playing was above where we were as a band, and it didn't look like we were going to get to that other level because the drummer just wasn't ready to get there, So and it's might have been I might have sprung it on him a little bit, a style change or whatever, but it was just something that you know there was something that was brewing and something I wanted to do. So at the end of the day, I had to get new people, and Jason helped me out with that, and we got Flo and from Cryptopsy right off the bat.
Cryptopsy, yeah.
Yeah, and John Incantation, he was eager to be a part of it right off the bat. And then I got Randy, and he was going to do the leads, and then he ended up doing a lot of all the rhythms too, because he just had that, he knew what I was going for, and so it came off really well. And the first year I had probably about 12 to 14 songs, and then we pared it down to 5, and then a few of them I kind of just dismissed for a while. So then when I did the second EP, it wasn't like I was reaching from those. One of them was a little bit touched up, and then the other ones all just were brand new. So like I just had a nice writing game going around 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019. It was just like a nice flowing going, writing. So, and I'm very happy for that. So, fortunate because I've been through dry spells, I mean, I think a lot of artists have, and it's not only disappointing and discouraging, but it's also like scary sometimes, you're just like, what if I can't just do it anymore? Right. It's a weird, but it's I'm learning that it's all your own blocks, your own mentality, like the way you think is the only thing that's keeping yourself from moving forward. You know what I mean? Like there's not really, that's what elemental blocks are, and creative blocks. It's just you keeping yourself from being artistic most of the time. And it is hard to get past. I'm just saying, but it is, I mean, your mind is your own worst enemy the most time, right? You know how to
fucking tell
make
me
yourself,
about
and your deepest, darkest fears, like, are always going to manifest because only your brain knows what you're afraid of,
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, anyway, like we tried to just like bang them out too. Like that was another thing that we wanted to do. Like I intended to do 3 EPs actually at the beginning, and bang them off really quick. And that was important too, because I wanted to show people that we were serious. It wasn't just a project. Also, to me, I like listening to EPs. It's a more instant way of getting getting the gratification of hearing a band like right away, and instead of like waiting for an album and 8, 10 songs or whatever, and that could take 2, 3 years, and depending on the band, sometimes even longer, as we
sometimes 30.
Right, it happens, right? I mean,
yeah,
you don't want to be, it's a lot to do that. You know what I mean? That would be that creative, to prolific, because these bands that have been around for so long that constantly put out albums and they're good. It's just like, wow, that's a lot of pressure sometimes. But so that's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to keep on and just be in people's minds too. Like here's one, here's another one, here's another one. Just keep on bludgeoning people with the sounds, and it's also it'll be like more what's the word I'm looking for? Like another, same as like a touring cycle would be. There would be like a media cycle for each release, right? You know what I mean? So then again, so a year later, you release another EP. We're in the media again. Where it's like, and it may be getting on year-end lists. Actually, it's funny because the first EP did get on 1 or 2 year-end lists, but also it wasn't until the year-end list that I realized that the EP format sometimes is excluded from the year-end lists. They like to be like album of the year. And all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I think EP is, if it's a solid EP recording, I don't see why that shouldn't make lists,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but by the EP, the end of the year, we were on so many end of the year lists. It was really mind blowing. It was just like, all of a sudden, it just like blew up, It's just like, wow. So very fortunate that people made some exclusions on their lists and added us, even though it was an EP. So, but I think I'm over the EP phase now and I'm ready to do the album now. So
yeah, I think the EP thing was actually a really good idea because, as you mentioned, you kind of got that constant exposure cycle going on. Not to mention that your songs, they're pretty focused, right? I mean, you don't have an EP with like 2 8-minute songs on it or things like that. You're kind of like the 3 to 4 minute average, maybe right there on the cusp. I also really like the fact that your production on your albums on your 2 EPs is very consistent, right? Stylistically, it's very similar. Sound quality and production is very similar. So it really kind of feels like when you hear 2 EPs that it's like, boom, these guys already have their stuff together. It kind of sends a message, I think, that you guys aren't fucking around. And I think that's great. But, here you go. You release, the second one and quarantine hits. And now you've got a decision to make is, do you roll forward on that third EP, or do you decide to, hey, now is the time to put that extra effort into making the full length, which I believe as of February, if I remember, you guys had a pretty good amount of songs written and kind of ready to go. So where are we at with that right now?
Okay, I guess let's start with the quarantine part of it. I mean, like we were, like I did have that plan for the EPs, like I was saying, right, to have like the boom, 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 like kind of attack. And when the second one dropped, but like a week later, I think everything went into lockdown, basically 1 or 2 weeks later, and that killed a lot of. Maybe took some attention off of the release a little bit at the beginning. And also obviously chances for touring were got slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how slim at the time, obviously, because it was what 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? That was, here we are a year and a half later.
Yeah.
So I mean, nobody could predicted that. I mean, I guess really, but so that was unfortunate. But the touring part of it, of course, to me, the touring part of it is it would be important. It would be a lot of fun, and we need to do that. But it's not my first priority right now. Like, I mean, because we'd have to get on a tour anyway. Like, we're not going to be doing our own tour at this level. So, and I'm fortunate to have the people that recorded on it who do want to tour. So that's a good thing too. Like, I mean, it's very positive. So it's just a matter of getting everyone together and having the right things. So hopefully that'll start happening next year. And when we drop the album, definitely it's important to do that. That's why I think it would have almost been ready to go in, but I'm kind of taking my time a little bit with the songs. There's 8 songs written for the album, and there's a couple more that are ready for split releases, future releases, like 7 inches or compilations and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you're recording those at the same time, right? So you're going to record them at the same time as you're doing the album, and then just release those separately when those are ready.
Yeah, a little bit more foresight in that aspect of it. Whereas before, well, I mean, we didn't know how it was going to go off before. I mean, so we just focused on the 5 songs. And then we started getting offers like, oh, you guys want to do this, like compilation or split or whatever. And all we could offer was the same 5 songs. But some people wanted original, unreleased tracks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we were like, okay, next time let's plan ahead, do a couple extra songs that we have so for those kind of purposes. Yeah. In between the album too, the 2 albums, because obviously I was going to start writing that second album right away. So some, little stopgap items, for people to still appreciate a new song that they haven't heard, and, still have, hear what we're all about.
Yeah. So have you done much in the way of studio work? Has anything been recorded, or is it still in the writing phase right now for the new album?
Well, I demo everything here myself. So it's just me and the drum machine stuff, just ideas. And then I send it out to a couple of the guys, and I just bounce ideas off of people and just to see what the reaction is, basically, like, where if I'm headed in the right direction and stuff like that. I mean, there's sometimes you want to try something and it's just like, Yeah. But I'm trying to be very focused, like I said before, about this, and just keep it very, very death metal. No need to there's no intro type stuff and big long intros or acoustic guitars or melodies and slow parts. It's like that. Not interested.
No clean singing for you.
No. I mean, I did a little bit in the Soulstorm days, and it is what it is, and I'm not interested in that anymore. No, go back to the thrash kind of vocals or the death metal vocals that I used to do before that, and so just that's all I want to do, really. No clean singing.
You're pretty focused in your mission there with what you're doing. I assume then that stylistically you're going to kind of keep on the same path that you've been doing with the EPs, because it is very solid, it is very consistent, and I kind of feel like you've really found, I think, what works. And I think that's one of the things that makes Tribe stand out in a pretty saturated market as far as metal goes, is that you have the production going for you, you have the perfect song lengths in a lot of cases, and everything is crushing. Your fucking vocals are killer. And somehow, some way, you've found a way with this band to make the dive bomb whammies sound melodic. And those fucking solos are awesome too. Like everything, the guitar tone is really cool. So I'm anticipating seeing more of that, or hearing more of that when the new stuff hits the market.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff there. You gave me some praise on. I appreciate it. That's it's good to hear that kind of stuff. We work hard on this kind of stuff. Doing these songs. So I'm glad that people like it. And I mean, it's on purpose that the songs are shorter. There's it's the minimum on slow parts, and don't want to drag it out. And that's I might have when I was doing Soulstorm, I think I focused a lot on the doom aspect of it and repetition of riffs and stuff like that. And now I'm just like at the opposite end again, where I began like in my first thrash band, Overthrow and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The same kind of writing style where it was a bit more direct and fierce, and still had a bit like the death and the thrash and the black in there, and it's just like a, kind of like everything where I came up, where I learned all my writing chops of that kind of style up to, through all the other influences up until now, you know what I mean? So it's, I think that's where we are, and I keep it fresh like that. And I'm glad that people respond to it in a positive way. It's really cool,
Yeah.
And Randy too. I mean, he does all that stuff. That's all him. I tell him where to do some dives to fill in some little ideas and give it a little little flavor, sprinkles of flavor here and there, right?
Right.
And but the solos are all him, and he creates all those melodic things, and that's the only melody that I allow in the band. So and
yeah,
and
it
let
works.
Randy get away with it.
It works. Melodies, dive bombs, and blast beats that are not super overpowering. I mean, it's a fucking formula for awesomeness. So yeah, I absolutely love that.
He comes from that Randy Rhoads kind of school of playing, and I know that's one of his idols. And I know he's a big Pink Floyd fan as well as I am, and those guys like have. When you hear their solos, Randy Rhoads, David Gilmour, like you know how it's going to go already. You know the next part, and that's always been one of those kind of hooks that's been elusive, I guess, some way, for some people. And I think Randy does that really well, and I'd love to incorporate that into what's going on with the tribe.
Yeah, no, he's the metal version of Gilmour for sure. Like, you can hear like Gilmour will bend one note just so many different ways and just hold it,
right?
And it's just so dynamic with that one note. So yeah, I could go on all day about that stuff. But no, I think that's awesome. Now I know predominantly you've been kind of the driving force in the primary songwriter. And the other guys coming from the bands that they come from respectively have their own obligations. Are you still kind of finding that's the case with the new material? Are the others getting involved in any of the core structure of the songs, or has anything changed in that respect?
Actually, no. So I think John offered, but then I didn't hear back, and then he had the wedding and everything.
Yeah.
And by that time, I think I already had the core of the songs written. I do want to write with John, actually, but I have two sides of that right now, where it's I still maybe it's obviously a little bit of ego, where I still feel that I have something to prove with the album, even though I just dropped the two EPs that were,
quite well received.
Yeah, right. So now I feel the pressure's on a little bit again, where now I got to step it up and do the album, and that's I mean, so I just kind of feel like I have to prove it still, and maybe hopefully in the future there'll be more collaboration and stuff like that. Like I said, I do want to write with people. In the past I've always have written with people, and I do like that, but now it's just like a mission right now, where it's just like I was away for so long that I feel like or just too placated or laid back in the Soulstorm style. Like it was so doom and abrasive that I wasn't expecting a lot of people to get it. And it did have like a laid back kind of like a doom style, where it was just like it wasn't for everyday consumption, So I mean, so I'm coming from that, and I want to do like a whole 180 from that, and I just feel like I haven't really attacked it in the past, I've been consistent too as well, and I just right now I just want to be like bam, bam, bam. This is death metal. This is like no. No gimmicks, no holds barred, relentless. We're not using the blast as like a gimmicky thing. It's just like this is the feel of the songs, and this is what it needs. You know what I mean? Like, and it's weird that when I was writing, and I would be thinking of the beats that I wanted for the songs, they ended up being like all blasts, and it's just like, wow, I guess that's where we're going with this. So, you just have to let it take you where you want it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, okay, well that's.
Yeah, for sure. And the fact that you guys do all live in pretty remote spots from each other, it is hard to get together. Sometimes that collaboration has to come from an energy that you feel with people in proximity, and it is difficult to get that on a computer somewhere. And even if you've got cameras set up and you kind of do your best to get a live setting, there is something about collaborating with people that are right there with you to kind of feed off that energy. It's difficult to pull that off when everybody's in different parts of the country as well, or I guess different countries per se, because of you
Right.
being out there in Canada.
Yeah. Well, yeah, three of the guys are in Canada, and then John's in the States. So, but I still don't live close to anyone else really. Like I think Randy's like 2 hours away still. So, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like collaborating. I mean, it's different for everybody, right? I mean, I do like to collaborate, and I have done that in the past, like I was saying. But I mean, this came rather easy, not easy, but I mean, like it fell into place in the songs and the writing, and I just had this idea that I just wanted to be fully in control, and just so there wouldn't be anything like later where people would be like, "That's mine, it's because of me," whatever. And I was just like, "Look, I got something to prove to myself. I want something to do right now. It's been a while since I've done this kind of stuff, like at this kind of like pace. You know what I mean? Like I haven't done anything that fast for a long time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it is
so,
fast.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. Like once I heard Flo was on board, I was kind of like pushing the levels a bit of the writing and the tempos and the blasts, and there was one where I was kind of like worried that he wasn't going to get it, but I never heard any complaints or nothing. He just like, okay, no problem, and then I got there and the drums were done, and I was a happy camper. So
yeah, that's awesome. So needless to say, we're still probably a ways away from hearing that material hit the market.
I'm still working on the lyrics right now is one thing, but the lyrics, I have like a lot ready to go. And what I have done in the last couple of times is I save the lyrics to the end, so they're still kind of fresh, and the ideas are, because I in the past, sometimes you have an idea and you get stuck with it, and then like depending on the length of time, maybe other bands have come out with this kind of thing, and it kind of sucks, to have like when so, because then they think you copied them or whatever. So it's just like I just wait right to the end, and it goes off without a hitch in the studio. So I'm gonna trust that process, and as when we get closer to that, I'm gonna have more lyrics. But I have like a bunch of ideas right now that are gonna be pretty fun to get out there.
Yeah.
And also like but I do have plans to record. Hopefully, I'm hoping for March. Because I just want to make sure all the pandemic stuff is over, all the virus stuff is over.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Because if we put out an album and everything's still on lockdown, it's gonna ruin the whole momentum of going out on tour. And the older it gets, people are just not gonna want to take you on tour, so they might as well just start focusing on the second album, right? And
sure.
So I'm just like, can't even get the first one out of the gate, right? So I'm just trying to like, okay, let's pace this a little bit. I mean, if everything was all no virus, no lockdown, pandemic stuff, I think we probably would have been going in for September. That would have been ideal, and have it out early next year, close to the other two birthdays of the EPs, But now it looks like more of a summer release of next year. But if all goes well.
Yeah, no, that's a good goal to shoot for. And then, of course, in the meantime, as we teased at the beginning of the show here, you do have your double EP vinyl coming out here pretty soon. So that's pretty exciting. That'll give some people out there in the world a chance to get their hands on some semi-new product, even if it's material that's been out there. It's kind of in a new format. So how did the decision get made to release those two on vinyl? Was that simply decided as hey, let's just put something out in the meantime, or had this been planned for a while?
Okay, so the funny thing is everything has fallen into place after the fact because of the way that we kind of approached it at the beginning. We were very secretive of it all of 2018 of what we were doing. I dropped hints near the end of the year of like, here's a logo, here's a picture of us in the studio, but nobody really knew because I never announced anything at all. Like maybe a couple of close people knew, and they always know I'm doing something, you know what I mean? And I've been quiet for a while, so the fact that I was so quiet and dropping hints, some people knew. And even when we came out with the first EP, nobody knew that it was coming out, right? And then Vic Records heard the one song and automatically said to put this out, and that was he already had Overthrow out too as well, so that's I already had like contact with him, but I didn't realize he put out new stuff as well. I just thought it was all retro stuff. So yeah, so everything just ends up kind of falling into place as we've been going. Like everything's been after the fact. You know what I mean? Like the EP kit was coming out, and then we had the CD coming out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then, but Vic Records was really good with all that, so he acted pretty quick, and we got it out right away for both those things. So now people have been asking for vinyl for a very long time, pretty much since the beginning as well. So they've been like, vinyl, vinyl. Okay, Vic Records doesn't do vinyl. He does CDs, and that's great. You know, he's very good with all that stuff. So we've been looking for stuff, and I've been poking around a bit. And obviously, we wanted the first EP to come out on vinyl. That didn't happen, and I shifted my focus to just recording the second EP anyway. I was just like, well, I'm not going to start chasing people around, put it out. Like if someone wants it, you know, that'd be great. If not, then I'm just going to go record again. Just focus on recording the CD, and you know, like, cause that's, as long as we got the songs out, then they can be pressed whenever, you know what I mean? So, and then, and also again, like, once with these things, they happen as you go, there's also, again, like more media cycles, you know, like people started talking about it again. So if everything
Right.
came out at the same time, no one would talk about it after that. Right. Or so luckily for us, this thing has been happening in this way where there's something new is happening every few months where it's just like people keep talking about us, and, you know, it's been kind of fortunate like that. So, yeah. So on that note, yeah, people were asking, where's the vinyl? Where's the vinyl? And I said, I don't know. Do you know anyone who wants to put it out? And then, Ruben from Eat My Records from Brazil, he just said, yeah, I'd love to put it out. It just happened just as simple as that. And, you know, he commented on one of the things on social media, you know,
Yeah.
and, that's how quickly most of the stuff has happened for us. Like on this, like there's been a lot of like social media kind of like I'm pretty active on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and I'd like to be in contact with the fans. I like, you know, totally like, you know, like encourage it. We talk and stuff, and uh, it's just been a nice thing going on so far. So like, just looking forward to this vinyl thing coming out, which is the original question. And I know I went off into a few little tangents there. But yeah, so finally, September, October, we'll have the vinyl out, and I'm glad that it's going to be the two. It's going to be kind of fun just having like the two on one on either side, and you know, it just kind of happened that way, I guess. Like I said, like if someone put out the first EP, it probably would have happened all different, you know, than would put out the second EP by itself, right? I mean, like if someone did approach us in the first place, but now we got someone to put both out on one. So
Yeah.
and actually, that's also something that's going to happen next year with Vic Records. He's going to put both EPs on one CD.
Oh, that's
So
fucking cool.
yeah, so because they're coming down to the last few copies. They're going to be sold out of the first pressing of the EP. And I told him, I said, why don't you just put them both on one CD? You know, I mean, like save some plastic, and you know, I mean, because they're not that long, but together, you know, it's a nice little treat, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
It reminds me of like one of my favorite albums ever was the double EP from Morgoth back in the day. It was
Oh
Eternal
yeah,
Fall and Resurrection Absurd. That was just fantastic, and
that was
you know,
amazing. Yes.
I absolutely love that and played the shit out of it. And you know, I like that, you know, Creator with Pleasure to Kill, Flag of Hate was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the idea of the double thing. That's super fucking badass, and it's on vinyl. So now vinyl's been pretty backed up for a lot of people with pressings and whatnot.
Right.
Have you guys faced that at all, or is it just kind of you'll release it when you want to release it, or are they saying, hey, I know it's ready, but I gotta wait 6-7 months just to get it pressed?
Well, from what I understand, I think in Brazil, I guess the plant is it's a little backed up, and it's going to take a while. That's why it was only like a couple weeks ago that we got the test pressing,
Yeah.
and now they're going to go ahead and press it. So, and that's why I said, "Oh, is it cool to announce it yet?" And then like Ruben just said, "Well, let's just wait a little bit, you know, because it's still going to be September, October." So I guess there's, you know, it's in the queue now, I guess, or something, or I don't know how long it takes to make vinyl. Really, I haven't been through this before, so
Okay. That makes two of us. I did watch
right, yeah,
your little video though on social media with the test pressing. I was like, it's kind of exciting because you know it's like, hey, it's coming, it's a thing, and plus you know people go crazy over test presses. It's just kind of
I've noticed,
the cool factor. You know, I bet you people are
yeah,
like, dude, I'll buy that off you for you know ungodly amounts of money, or let me make you some kind of a deal. We'll do a trade. I'll give you like my mom or something. Come on, let me have that vinyl.
hasn't gone into monetary figures yet, but there's been some interest actually for the test pressing already. So
Oh, for
I was
sure.
just like, and I don't even know if I'm gonna get one. So I'm just like, relax, guys. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, I'm not the guy to talk to really.
Right on.
We'll have copies. We'll have copies of the vinyl for our band camp. Probably about 50 copies.
Yeah.
It's only limited to about 300, so that's cool. We'll have a few left as well. And
Yeah.
other than that, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be it's something nice for the fans too. Like I wanted, I'm just if people want to buy this kind of stuff, then I want to make it available for them. You know what I mean? Because it is fun. I haven't really had vinyl myself. Like the Overthrow just got pressed onto vinyl a couple years ago. Soulstorm's never been on vinyl, just 7 inches or whatever. And well, they told me Metal Blade told me the first album was printed on vinyl in Europe. Never seen it though. I don't know. Never seen it at all.
It exists according to somebody, but you've never seen it.
Well, yeah, Metal Blade told me the guys,
Yeah.
the owners. I don't never heard it. Vinyl, Darkness Visible on vinyl. I never heard that. I don't know.
Crazy. That's awesome. Well, this one's here.
So-
It's going to be here, and plus, and then you also put up a pre-order for some T-shirts that are going to come out around the same time, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that's a new venture partnership we have with Blackheart's Underground. They do some other merch for like Zellicult. Cult.
Yeah,
And,
there you go.
Actually, this is a different shirt, but I did buy with Zellicult Cult off of him before, like when I first found the band. Deicide, he does a whole bunch of other stuff like that. He does some Slayer stuff too. So we're gonna do some shirts with him, maybe some pins, maybe some other things, just to kind of branch out the name. And since he's coming out of Europe, it might be cheaper for certain people to order from there. Cheaper for shipping because shipping is insane.
Dude, I shipped some T-shirts to the UK, and I mean, a T-shirt weighs like what, half a pound, and
Right, yeah.
just sending something over there just cost an insane. It's like $12-15 just to ship the T-shirt.
So for us, there's been a conversion with the money. So for us, it's over $20 to send over to Europe. You know, like or $23, depends where you're sending it. You know what I mean? And then I noticed also they've been adding like separate from that, let's say, oh, here's a $1.50 surcharge, fuel surcharge.
Yep.
It's like, where's this coming from? You didn't say anything about that.
It's a tax.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's just insane with the taxes. Oh my God, I can't even. Let's not even.
It's like, don't even go there. Yeah. Well, in one way, shape, or form, somebody's gonna get their hands on it. You might have to pay for it, but it'll be well worth it.
Yeah. So that's cool that we're gonna have these shirts too. I was looking forward to getting these shirts done. It was discussed before, and it kind of materialized, kind of fell through a little bit. It was maybe too early in the game when we first kind of came out, but now that people are maybe this was also the reason of putting out the EPs quicker, like like I said before, like so they don't think it's like a project, a one-off thing. Like I want it to be like, okay, this is a serious thing. We're gonna be dropping bombs on you guys quite regularly. You know what I mean? Be prepared. So,
yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. Getting back to the fact that you are pretty active on social media, engaging with your friends and your fans and all that kind of stuff. I saw a post recently from you that was a flashback post from, was it 90 or 91, something like that?
Okay,
some time you spent in Pestilence. And tell me a little bit about that. I'm sure you've spoken about that a million times, but I'm curious how you got in on that gig and then why it came to an end.
Okay. Well, I mean, my like I said in the post, my buddy kept sending me these still shots of the video, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know,
Right.
like looking at these pictures. So eventually I put them up, and because it was also actually the anniversary of that show, 30 years. So I was just like, well, I might as well post them because no one's actually seen these pictures from what I know, and they're just taken off of a video that was shot at that show anyway. They're not. So I mean, it's still a little grainy, and I think I have the video somewhere. He's got the video somewhere. It's not online anymore. Some people don't want you to see it, I guess, or whatever. So I just I wanted kind of the proof, just to post it as proof of like a little bit of a timeline to be like, yes, I was there, little timestamp, I did this. Let's get past it now. You know what I mean? Because there are actually some people that were like, when it was like, okay, the whole Pestilence thing is not what I put into the bios and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like other writers put that in there.
They put that
you
in
know
there,
what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's not. I mean, I was in the band maybe like 5 months or something like that. We played a show. We went to the studio. I was in the studio with them, but it just I didn't record anything, and that's where it kind of fell apart anyway. And that's where I was just like, you know. So yeah, I mean, I was there and everything, but I mean, it wasn't like a significant. Well, the only significant thing is that they did take about like 5 of my song titles, and they still used them on the album, on Testimony of the Ancients.
Oh, cool.
So, well, no, it's not cool, really, not for me, because they used my titles.
You didn't get credit for it?
No, I didn't get credit for anything of that.
Well, that
so
sucks.
yeah. So that's been always a little bit of a
point of contention.
Yeah, for me. I mean, and it's not something I could prove, and it's just a title anyway, right? I mean, it's just like, who gives a shit? It's a title, but at the same time, you say, well, you didn't come up with the title, so.
So you kind of got shafted in that sense then.
Like, people are always saying that it's so easy to write lyrics, it's so easy to write riffs, but then they rip off my stuff, and it's just like, well, if it's so easy, what are you ripping off my stuff for? I mean, it's just like.
Yeah, right.
You know, I got my shit to prove. If your way to prove it is by ripping off my stuff, then.
Yeah, crazy. So clearly, I don't know if I just hit a hot button with you. I apologize for that.
No, that's just one of those. That's just just a thing that happened.
Yeah, it is. So 30 years ago, it's just, when you think about metal as a genre and that it's been around for longer than that at this point and where it's kind of come, I think it's kind of cool that you can pinpoint that you've done, different bands, different projects spanning way back kind of in the earlier days of metal really being spawned into the format that it is now, at least with the extreme stuff.
Right. I mean, we were trying to do something even different with Soulstorm at the beginning. This was the point of Soulstorm. It was 91, right. And I, coming off of the experiences of Overthrow and Pestilence, I was like, well, let me try something else. Let me do something a little different. There was a lot of backstabbing and infighting that I saw in metal from a lot of these people, and who are supposed to be friends, and then you realize that they're not really friends, and a lot of business stuff went into like a lot of these decisions, and it was like it just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. So when I started Soulstorm, I just wanted to be kind of like separate from all that stuff. You know what I mean? So which happened a little too well. That was too separate. You know what I mean? Like, so that was the decision of some of that stuff. And I think if I came back to Toronto in 91 and started a death metal band in 91, there wasn't really anything representing death metal in Toronto in 91, which shows you a bit of the scene that's a little bit behind here. No one was even thinking like that. So when we came out with Soulstorm, it was still like holy shit, like we played live, just blew everyone away, and no one was expecting that at all. Like I think that was just as the demo was released, we played our first show, so a lot of people weren't expecting it, didn't know what to expect yet, and just blew them all away. It was pretty amazing.
It's kind of a pattern with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, like I'm just trying to write the best I can, and I'm glad that people like it and appreciate it. You know what I mean? I like to have that effect on people, and I'm glad that it's getting across.
Yeah, I think Soulstorm. I'm pretty familiar with Soulstorm, and okay. I definitely always appreciated the fact that it was different. I mean, everything was different back then in the early 90s. I'm stuck in the 90s, dude. I always tell people that, like, in general, like, that's my era of really formation of the majority of my musical tastes, and I like a lot of different kinds of music for sure, not just metal and everything, but within metal, I always like the stuff that kind of tended to veer a little experimental to see what people were doing. And then, I'd be like, oh shit, I could never do that. I couldn't pull that off. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then now it's kind of like you get involved in new projects, and then it's kind of like your older material, it just always resurfaces, which I think is super badass. I don't know, maybe was it Overthrow or was it Soulstorm? Something showed up like in a Metalhead box recently.
Okay. Overthrow shirts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, holy crap, is that the same? So that was you, or Overthrow anyway.
Yeah. They contacted us and contacted me and asked me if they came to me with this idea to put these limited shirts out, and I thought, wow, it's nice to know that people still remember you, as and I mean, like 30 years later, and it's just like, it wasn't even the album art; it was from the demo, so that was kind of like a little more, sub, genre, sub niche or something, or you call it, you know what I mean? It's already like underground type of thing, like,
Right.
so it was nice of them to ask us, that kind of, to put that out. And it was humbling and touching to know that people care. It's like good. Uh, so yeah, that's how that happened. It was just limited one off kind of thing. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Metalhead Box is badass, and I just think that it's cool to see people still with the appreciation for stuff that's been out for a while. I like seeing new life breathed into things that have kind of been out there in the cosmos, and now people are rediscovering them or discovering them for the first time. I think it's awesome. I keep going back to that era of music for myself. And Tribe, what I think is cool about you as well is that it has a really kind of an old school like style, like a sound. Like it's very intense, it's very in your face, and it kind of has a lot of that old school vibe, but it sounds modern. It's like the best of both worlds. It's really cool. So probably because you're also playing with veterans who have been doing it for a while as well. So I kind of lends to that. You were talking about bands that just kind of release album and release album and release album. And you just, you look at John, you look at Incantation, how many albums those guys have released, and
Exactly.
they've consistently had, maybe they're not doing it every single year, but it's every couple of years. I mean, they're staying on a schedule. Do you see Tribe as being something where you want to release content more frequently, or do you find yourself getting to a point where you want to slow it down and do it every few years?
Um, I think right now that because it looks like I've been just doing it fast, like bam, bam, bam. It's it was more of a point of like, I wanted to like kind of reclaim or just tell people, say like, yeah, I'm back, motherfuckers. We're gonna do it serious, and it's gonna be fucking relentless, and it's gonna keep coming out. You know what I mean? That was the plan, because a lot of people talk, a lot of people, and it takes them like, so long to release something. And I realize art is a craft and such or whatever, but it takes time to get that going. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know, everyone has different expectations of themselves and where they want to be, so I mean, and right now this is what I want to do. I want to kind of exclaim and say, I'm not going away. This is, I got some shit to prove again. I got to put some stuff out. And so that's why, it came out so quick now. And because of the virus, it's taking a little bit longer for the album. It'd be cool to release things quickly. I don't want to jinx that. Like I said, about the creative process is very, very tricky. The creative process. Incantation do that a lot. Like release a lot of pretty steadily every like 3 years, I think, or so, 3-4 years. And there's a lot of touring in between as well. They've been, especially the last couple of albums, they went to a lot of places that they haven't been before, and it was just like mind blowing to watch that go on. And it was just like, what's guys like, now they're in Australia, now they're in Thailand, now they're in Mexico, now they're in South America. It's just like, holy shit, these guys are everywhere. So it was cool to see all that stuff unfolding, and I was just like, I wanted to get out there. I was itching to get out there when all that was happening too. But in time we'll get out there. Pace ourselves. I know like John's always busy, as is I think the point of that there. So we'll see what happens. And as long as the albums are solid and somewhat consistent, I want to have like I mean, they're pretty focused now, like I was saying, like, and what you've been describing as well. And I feel it has a bit of that death thrash kind of style in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you could take Burning of Diseased Empires. I think that's probably one of the best examples of that kind of, for me, I think. And that's like, and it goes back to my writing in Overthrow, which actually I've seen some people dissect the writing on the album, and I never really dissected it as much down to this. But when they named my songs, they said that it was in a death thrash style. And this is one of those things that we were kind of talking about back then, but it was never really a genre back then, because if you look at the stuff that was coming out, it was very thrash, and that's what we called it. And it wasn't until about 89 where we started saying death metal with a few certain albums that were coming out, maybe 88 and maybe, stuff like that. But, well, death, people were calling death metal, but,
Sure.
So, but the stuff that was coming out, like you were saying, like Pleasure to Kill, you had some Destruction and Sodom and all that kind of stuff. Like the German thrash scene to me in around 86 was very pivotal pivotal in my songwriting and coming out with that kind of violent death thrash style. You know what I mean? It was definitely thrash, but it had that aggression to it, that violence to it, where it was just like holy shit, like just breakneck speeds. You know, there wasn't no slow parts and having like let's extend this like 20 bars and it's like it wasn't like that at all like that back then. It was very direct, and like look at the albums that even came out, like even Rain and Blood, like super direct and short. Darkness Ascends is another pinnacle album of that year.
One of my favorite of all time. Yeah,
the thrash on that album is just like questionable. It's just like that. It's just this. It gets overshadowed by Rain and Blood though, and a few of the other bands. So because it was a bit underground release back then. Like comparative to what else was going on, but. The 86 thrash and around 88, 89, the death metal scene that came out around then, that's also a huge influence for me that came out around then too. And then you could even like the newer bands, so the last like 10, 15 years, I've been listening to a little more black metal kind of stuff. And Azarath is just one of those bands that is super intense for me, relentless. That I just keep hearing that is just, I'm not saying we're going in that style, but it's influenced a little bit of the beats and just the fury of it. You know what I mean? But we've always had that with Morbid Angel too and all that kind of stuff, just intense. So
all those elements are definitely there. I appreciated you bringing up the German era there with those bands, because that's particularly close to my heart. I absolutely love that era there. So we'll kind of breaking away from that if we can for a second. I want to get back to kind of before we rolled on to the air. We were talking about guitars and stuff like that, and you had a pretty awesome collection of stuff behind you that I was hoping you'd share with our fabulous audience here, and what tools you're using to help make your piles of awesomeness.
Let's see here. We'll start with this one. We got the BC Rich Ironbird.
Nice.
This is one of the NJ series ones. So you can see that. Okay. So I did all the writing on the album with this one. Got Floyd Rose on there. My first Floyd Rose.
Is that a Class Axe era NJ? Do you know offhand when that one was produced? I used to have an Ironbird. It was from the Class Axe era. Kind of early 90s.
I think this is an early 90s model. I'm not 100% sure. It's not the Ironbird 1 model. I think that came after.
Right.
I do have one of those.
Sweet.
And it's a total difference in the quality of the Ironbird 1 and compared to the NJ series.
Oh, yeah.
So when I bought that guitar, I got a guy from Quebec.
Okay.
And I was going to ask him what band he was in, but I forgot. But he goes, he wants to be in a death metal band. And I'm like, how do you know that? And he's like, well, you're buying an Ironbird. So that was that. And I bought this one. This one was the first one I bought out of the whole, NJ series thing that I saw this for sale. And I was just like, wow, that's kind of cool. And it reminded me of like my old bass that I had. And so on this one here, I've just been kind of playing with the lead type stuff and adding leads to the demo stuff that I've been writing.
Right.
So I did all the rhythms with that one, leads with that one. I got this one too here. This is the one I did the first two EPs with. This is a 1976 Gibson SG.
Nice.
This has all the original parts. I just took off the pick guard because I'm not a pick guard guy.
Right.
So everything original on this. So 1976 is pretty cool. I do all the touch-ups with this too, because sometimes the other one, because of the Floyd Rose, it gets wonky.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of spending all that time, tuning that, I just, have this in tune and fix up all the parts on the demo stuff. This one here is my recent acquisition. I just got this a couple of days, actually not days ago, weeks ago. It was, I got it the day before Tom Araya's birthday, and which was also the day before International Slayer Day, which was a total coincidence because I just picked up the guitar. This is a Tom Araya LTD model, the TA600.
Yeah.
This is the TA600 actually.
Oh, okay.
But because it has this different cutout too, like down
here.
The
different cutout at the bottom. Yep, just saw that.
Yeah, this has the F series has the same horns, and it's got like the pentagrams on the on the inlays, which are pretty cool.
Nice.
So that's pretty fun. That's going to be my main live bass. I figured that's why I purchased this one.
That's badass.
And then this one here is the F series bass, which I bought first before that one, and I like the style and the nectar body so much. That's also an nectar body, the Tom Araya one. So this one is as well. And I just really like that shape. So I was just like, you know, and the neck on this one here feels like a lot like the Ibanez Sound Gear, which is my main bass. I have that somewhere else. I use that one for all the recordings that I've done ever since I could remember. You know what I mean? Like it almost played on the Pestilence album. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It was on the Soulstorm. I think I did it for some Overthrow shows. I can't remember. It might have been on the last Overthrow recording. We did like a 2-song kind of thing that was never released. So so this is gonna be a live bass as well, but probably like a backup, I guess.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the F series shape. It's killer.
Oh yeah.
What rigs are you running through? Are you doing digital stuff or?
That's just off there. Actually, I have everything in this room here. I have a Mesa Boogie rig. It's,
okay.
I can't even remember the number of it's the Mesa Boogie Big Block. I think 750 or 450, whatever the number is. And I have a 115 and a 212 cabinet, and it's got the overdrive in the head. It's really nice too. It's like because I use a little distortion on my bass from as far as back as I can remember too. That started with the whole Soulstorm thing too, actually.
Yeah.
Using distortion. Usually I use the distortion on the bass head on the Mesa Boogie. It has a really nice overdrive in there. I used to use the Boss bass overdrive, the yellow ones. Like this, here's the old box for it.
Nice.
But I found it lacking a little bit recently, so I picked up the Voivod Blackie's pedal. He's been making his own electronics and stuff like that, these own pedals. He's got one for the blower bass sound. Jesus Christ, my bass has never sounded so amazing. It's it's brutal. That's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's nice to hear that he because I love his bass sound, so it's nice to have that in a box.
Oh, right. Bass in a box. Do you mess with the dark glass stuff at all?
No, I don't really use a lot of pedals. Like I was using that bass, the Boss one, the bass overdrive for the last like 20 years. So I was just I never really ventured out too much. But then I saw Blackie was making these pedals, and I heard some examples on YouTube that people were, playing it out. So I was just like, that sounds pretty cool, and I got it. And when I rehearsed with my brother, I have another band with him, like it's a hardcore band that which is happened during the writing of all the Tribe stuff. I had all these hardcore songs, and I put them together, and I made a separate band out of that with my brother. And so it's just with the two of us. We don't even need a guitarist there. It sounds so heavy with this distortion. It's so amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Guitarist, right?
That's right. You do it all. Well, since you mentioned that, I guess let's segue into this. So I've got some listener questions for you, and one of the questions happens to be from a gentleman named Mike Palomino, who says, "Do you have any other bands that you're involved in currently?" And then a second part to that is whatever happened to, and I don't know how to say this, Safera.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, you're doing a band with your brother.
Okay, so I have a band with my brother, and it's like hardcore D-beat kind of Poison Idea meets like Nails or something. I don't know, or like there's nothing slow in it. It's just when I say Nails, there's only a couple parts that have like blasts. It's pretty like D-beat the whole thing, and it's like just short, fast songs, 9 songs, and it's called Nihilist Death Cult, and we're just going with that for now, and we'll see what happens. This is a lot of fun. It's fun playing with him. That's his style, and when you hear him play it, it's like
awesome.
Love playing it. Yeah, it's the whole energy into itself. So Sfera is something that happened with the last lineup of Soulstorm. So that lineup of Soulstorm was 2014 to 2016, and at the end of Soulstorm was the end of 2016. So 2017 was Sfera. And we wrote some songs. the same lineup, and we did this demo, and everything just kind of fell apart for different reasons after that. Like, the two guitarists were fighting; they had their own issues, and it's just like, I'm just trying to get shit done, guys. You know what I mean? It's like, so at the end of that, so 2017, it was just like, I think, we should, it's probably the end of what we're doing here with Sfera. So I'm just going to, move on. So I talked to Jason and I said, I got a whole bunch of songs. What do you propose we do? And he said, let's get Flow. And I'm like, let's do it.
There you go. So
yeah. And then history was written.
Step by step by step by step.
Basically. And and social media played a step in that every step of the way. Like, I mean, like all of a sudden we had shirts, and all of a sudden we have stickers and buttons and flags and like, vinyl. And I got another guy who wants to put out cassette, and then like even the whole deal with Vic Records came through the whole social media. Like, I mean, it was just like, he just contacted me there. And so everything's been happening pretty cool and like, and pretty fun, and like through a whole grassroots kind of like a growing way, and just really touching base with people. And it's not like just like here's her album, see you guys later.
Nice.
Like I see that, like, probably like half of the pages people follow, they don't even update anything. And I'm not saying there's always something to update about. But
sure.
I like to keep engaged with with people and just be like, hey, how's everyone doing? Happy Saturday, just checking in, and have a good weekend. See you later. You know what I mean? And it's just like, people like that kind of stuff, and
yeah, absolutely.
Seems like it. I don't know.
I like it. I appreciate it.
There's always like, people that are always like, oh, you have shirts. I didn't know. There's also, and it's just like, well, what do you think I've been doing the last promoting the last couple of years, right? So
exactly.
But still, like, yeah, I mean, it's like you don't reach everyone all the time. Not everyone's on social media all the time like we are, or like, like there's a small percentage of people who are always on there. But, it is what it is, right? Everything helps. I think it's pretty fun.
It is what it is. That's like my favorite saying in the world. So, well, there you go, Mr. Palomino. Now you know what other bands he's involved in. Ed Coleman wants to ask you, you did some thrashier stuff with Overthrow, and Soulstorm was kind of industrial but still heavy, and Tribe is brutal death metal. If you weren't doing Tribe, would you consider doing another type of music that wasn't metal?
Does that count with what I just said with my brother? That's not metal. I mean, it's like, it's metal-ish,
yeah,
but it's like, I would think it's a little bit more on the hardcore side, the whole attitude and approach of it. So that's just one thing I would do. Like, I did have a band like 10 years ago that was a little bit more dark wave kind of stuff, like more like a little bit in the goth thing or whatever. There was like a lower vocals, kind of thing. And
typo negative-y kind of stuff.
I don't want to compare to that because I'm not too familiar with them. You know what I mean? So, that would be like a version. Like, I mean, I'm thinking like The Cure, Nine Inch Nails,
gotcha,
that kind of stuff. But I'm not. But my vocals aren't that high, whatever. So, I mean, I'm not really like a singer. That's why I was just doing this lower kind of thing. That was fun. I don't know if I would do any of that stuff ever again, really. Like, I mean, I have some songs that I've written that I'd like to release at some point, but Tribe is the main focus. Yeah. That's what I always want to be doing. And if I have some time to do some stuff with my brother, just to have some fun with that, I'll be doing the hardcore thing as well. I've experimented so much in the past. I've done a trip hop thing. I've done experimental, like soundtracky stuff, like ambient or whatever. And what else did I do? It's always, like I said, that dark wave kind of gothy stuff, industrial stuff or whatever. And it's all fun, but then I find my writing is a little bit more limited because I'm not really like immersed in that kind of scene. Whereas metal, like, I know, like I'm already like, it's, I already know like the core bands and the stuff that came after and who was influenced by who, and you can hear it, and it's a lot different. And I grew up in that metal scene, and that's kind of more where I want to be focused. And
So probably no boy bands in your future. Just guessing.
No, not for me, no.
Sorry, Ed, you're SOL there.
But also, this is also on purpose as well, like from what I want to do now, because not the fact that I have, I guess maybe also because I have experimented in the past that I got it all out of my system, but which might have been maybe detrimental to my early part of the career that people couldn't be like focused with where I was going, you know. So now it's more like, well, I just want to stay focused in this sort of style. I'm not trying to be diverse or unique. You know, I don't like these words in metal personally. You know what I mean? Like when people say, "Oh yeah, they're really unique and original and different," and it's just like, I don't know why are they death metal then? It's just, you know, like these prog bands when the early 80s, when they started getting influenced by all the technical stuff and the cynic and the jazz stuff and atheist and everything, right? And it was just like, so they're all moving away from sounding like death metal bands because they didn't like the death metal tropes and the lyric ideas and stuff like that. Okay, so why are you still singing death metal then? You know, just change the style of vocals. Like, why am I hearing a guy screaming and it's all these like, passages, like these like jazzy kind of, you know what I mean? It's just like you're trying to get away from death metal, but you keep the vocals.
Yeah.
It's just like it's an odd idea to me. Like, I don't know, just like, I don't like melodic stuff. I don't like any of that stuff.
So you would prefer to just be like, hey, we are just a fucking awesome, straight ahead, killer death metal band. Fuck all the bells and whistles.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, picture Morbid Angel. Okay, at the beginning, Morbid Angel, you heard that and you were like blown away. You know, Altars of Madness, Blessed are the Sick, Covenant. Like you were always blown away by it. So then, when you went to go see it, you knew what exactly you were going to get. When the next album was going to come out, you knew already what you were going to get. Until later on,
right.
Right? But it's that kind of mentality where it's just like, we're a death metal band. Let's just be a death metal band. Like, there's nobody. It rarely works, this diversity and changing, and bands change their style, and you know what I mean. And it's just like, and who's that for, anyways? Is that why are you changing your band style? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense because everybody who liked it up until that point will probably not be following it, further in the future if you change it too drastically. Some will, as loyal fans. Some will just be like, I don't really get it,
Yeah.
And some people will hate it, and they'll be like, this isn't what I signed up for, and and I'm humbled by the how many people have been getting into all this stuff, and I don't want to disappoint anybody, you know what I mean? Like people like not saying like, I'm gonna cater to everybody's little wish and everything, but I mean that, but I came into this playing like death metal and like aggressive, relentless, like blasts and like, just like no compromise style. That's what I want to continue to keep doing. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
No gimmicks, no bells and whistles, just like, just do it, write it, do it, play it.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let's see here. Here's one from Doug Willis, who happens to run the Incant fan page. Hey, Doug. Yeah. He wants to know, do you have any plans for future projects with John McEntee? And also, what's your favorite strain? Two unrelated questions, but two great questions.
Yeah, I guess there's no surprise that I spoke weed, right? But
I had no idea.
Or maybe it is. Yeah, well, I guess I'm not. I don't post about it actually. So yeah, no, there wasn't.
Other than watching it,
I have smoked it in a couple other interviews, and that's actually the only times as well. And I never really say it's weed anyway. So I guess many people don't know. Favorite strain? Let's start with that one first. Maybe Rockstar. I like that one. I just ordered some more of that. The purples are good. Anything in the purple family or the blueberry family, those are good strains. So here's a funny story. And when I write the music, I don't have any song titles, and so I just have working titles because in the past
you gave them all to Pestilence.
Yeah, Melly stole them all. He took all my song titles.
Oh.
So, but what I found in the past is that if I have like a song title and it's a specific, and it's something I want to use, once I assign it to a riff, it stays there, right? So I wanted to avoid that because it doesn't always end up like that once I finish the lyrics, like with that title, right? So I wanted to stay away from that, and I just wanted to use all these working titles, and so every song is after a weed strain.
Okay.
That's how I just the different riffs, and then all those different riffs go into a song, and it's still a weed strain is the name of the song. And it's funny, even when we go to the studio and Flo plays on everything, nobody knows the names of the songs until I do the vocals, which is the last day. And then Christian, he's the only one there that knows what the songs are, and then I tell him all the new song titles and everything. But up until then, it's a strain of weed for every song title.
Nice.
So yeah, this little tidbit, this is kind of fun. And then I'd like to write with John. It would be like hopefully, like I said, like he was busy with the whole wedding thing and everything this summer, and the whole pandemic thing has just put a damper on everything
Sure.
right across the board, right? I mean, no touring at all. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have been up here a couple more times on tours, and or I would have gone down to see some shows down in the States. We usually go down to Buffalo or Detroit or something. So it would be cool to see him all that time. And yeah, I want to record, I want to start writing with him as well. Like, and I don't know, like I know his style's different than mine. It's gonna
Sure.
be interesting, and because I still want to keep, Tribe really like relentless and upbeat. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. It's very premeditated. Like that, it's happened like that, right? So,
Right.
and the song's short and everything. So, which is like it might be a little bit different from his style. It depends. I don't know how he works. Everyone works different. So if he's got riffs, I like to incorporate riffs. So I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome.
I like the range and stuff.
All right, Doug, you just got your answer. I'm sure he's on the scouring for sources right now. Funny story. He actually lives like 15 minutes away from me, and we just found this out about each other here just in the last couple of months. So he's my fucking
Oh yeah,
neighbor.
yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Right on.
So yeah, shout out there, Doug. All right, last question here from the listeners, brother. This is from Pete Irons. Just wants to know what's been one of the craziest live or studio experiences you have. Either something super funny or something super fucked up. He says,
Huh.
and he's been doing this for a long time, guys. So bear with it.
It's two things that I could just think of right now, really quick.
Sure.
There was one time. This is more of a lesson, I think. Like at the end of the hindsight thing, like I was thinking, like I wanted to change my strings on my bass, but I kind of put it off. I knew I should have changed them. I put it off. We got on stage. Literally, the first couple notes, the first bass string, the top bass string, the breaks. And the whole song had like no bass, and I was trying to sing and trying to figure out something to do and octave, and which didn't sound right for Souls. This was a Soulstorm, by the way. Like it was in Rochester too. I think or New York. Someone
In New
played
York.
down there
Okay.
with Genitortures and stuff. So that was a weird thing. Change your strings. there's a lesson there. That's not the strangest thing that's happened. I'm just saying that just came to my mind. But I remember we were playing a show in Milwaukee at the Eagle Auditorium, which is where we played with the Milwaukee Metal Fest. But I went back with another band, Monster Voodoo Machine, and I was on stage. I was jumping or something, and I came down a little weird, and my ankle fractured. Like it wasn't like a fracture, but it was like I think I fractured the tip or something, which is I've already had a break there before, so it wasn't too comfortable for it to happen again. And but it didn't. So yeah, it was like the tip of it fractured, right? So there's nothing you could do. Just have to wait it out or something.
Ugh.
That's not a good story. I know. Sorry.
So when somebody says break a leg, break an ankle, you're like, yeah, dude, we fucking been there, done that.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. It's not the first time. It was the first time on stage, but after an overthrow show in Miami, this is when the first time it happened. It was like late 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I stepped off the back of the stage, and we were playing a show in Miami right before we were going to do the album with Scott Burns in Tampa. So we were already down there and stuff. And I stepped off the stage, and it was like the back. There was like a little, like maybe this wide, and it was just like a little bend there, and then it went normal. I don't know, like a little lip there or something, and I just came down. And plus the stage was maybe like this high or something, like 3 feet or whatever. And so I kind of jumped down on this little ledge, and that's when the first time I fractured the ankle. I think I was like 19 or 20. So that's the two times that's happened. A recurring, injury there, metal related injury. Am I right?
Refer to them as battle scars, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I got
that's
my
what
fair
you get
share.
for jumping around and trying to give people stage presence.
Yeah, right. It's always a price to pay.
Yeah, right. So, well, awesome. Thank you for answering our listener questions, guys. I hope you got some satisfactory answers from Nick there. This has been a fantastic conversation. I definitely
Awesome. Thanks, man.
appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your music with us and sharing your stories and everything like that. If
It's
people
awesome.
want to follow you online and check out the music, what's the best places to see what you got going on?
Facebook, I guess, is the most kind of interaction type stuff. Although, Instagram, Twitter, it's like I still like get back to people and talk to people and you know follow back. We do that. So a lot of people don't. They're always trying to have that. We have this many followers and we're barely following anyone. Look how cool we are. And
Right.
I'm just like, well, if I don't follow some of these people back, they probably wouldn't follow me back because that's kind of what I do. So like, I mean,
Sure.
you know what I mean? So it's just like, and they're all fans, they're all spending money, they're all enjoying it. So I'm just like, oh, why not? We're all like, we're all just trying to have fun here. I'm just glad that people are digging this. It's like so amazing. You know what I mean? Like that's the best payoff right there.
Yeah. I
That people enjoy the music.
I think that's fantastic, and I think that one of the things that has really brought people together during this last year and a half or so has been the music business has done its best to kind of pivot and still try to give the fans and all the people out there something. And music has been kind of a constant factor that's kept people's sanity levels, manageable. It's just something that people can always turn to no matter what style of music you like. And so for those of you that are out there in the world making the music and putting out the material and engaging with the fans, I appreciate everything that you guys do, how hard you work, and everything that we do for the world. I think music is super important. So thank you so much for doing all that.
Well, thank you too. I mean, your job as well, like bringing, this kind of stuff to people. And, it's all like arts, entertainment, all this stuff that usually gets forgotten from a lot of people or gets dismissed. More, I don't know. Don't want to put a percentage. I have no idea. But I mean, like, a lot of people rely on entertainment and music and, like to get through things or to change their mood or, there's memories attached with like music. You know what I mean? You listen back to something, it takes you somewhere instantly. Sometimes you can even smell it. You know, or and movies, all kinds of art. It's all this memory and feeling, and it's like serotonin, and you feel good listening to certain music, and you crank it, and I love music loud. You know what I mean? Like in the car, I'm always cranking it so loud when I'm by myself, obviously, because
Right.
I mean, so not everyone can take it as loud as I can, but maybe that's also from playing live so much over the years. I don't know. Like, we played with Motorhead quite a few times, and they're very loud. So back in the day, there
Oh,
saw them. That's good.
love that. So awesome. So
Yeah,
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, from the man himself. So follow Tribe of Pazuzu. Keep up with Nick on all of his pages. Stay tuned for the double EP vinyl release. Stay tuned for the new album coming out. And just keep your eyes and ears peeled. There's some cool shit coming your way. Nick, thank you so much for hanging out on Misery Point Radio, man. This has been an honor. It's been an absolute blast. Love talking to you. Open door for you anytime you want to come on and talk about some stuff. We'd be glad to have you back on.
awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for everything. Thanks for having me on here. Give me the opportunity to, spread my gospel of death metal and what I have to say about it, and just give me the chance to just talk about crazy shit. Man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Cool.
Thanks,
Well,
man.
thank you.